I click the links for Odysee, Chute, and Coffee to support my vitally important work. The summary is we have to share this space, but there are forces at work that are making that impossible, while simultaneously don't want us to live apart. They don't want a resolution, they want a constant low-grade war. And yes, they have a master plan, but even for the reptilian overlords, things can go sideways. Always watch to see if you're being manipulated, like in the case of a film like this. So I'll get to his thing in a sec. I just want to show this image because it's so freaking ridiculous. The Karen director responds in an interview with David Stern. Here's the thing with Karen and the mainstream social media platforms. If you try to present a counter argument to their narrative of why Karens are always calling the cops, you're just going to get kicked off the platform. They do not want a discussion with every viewpoint presented. They want a monologue. And as soon as you find out that somebody wants a monologue, just dip out. And we have no interest in being lectured to. And you have to be so careful making videos that people think you're a crazy person, which is a microaggression that I micro care about. I could do a contest where if you can name all the microaggressions in this video, I'll send you a graphic novel, which I actually have a dozen Preacher graphic novels I guess I could give away, but it seems like a lot of trouble, which is why I haven't offered. But if you really want one, I guess let me know in the Discord and I'll get cracking. Anyway, so short video. You have to be an idiot to make a Karen film right now. But I'm glad he did accelerate it to destruction. So you've got, I was going to say, stereotypical names for European, Jewish, African, Latinas, and Asians. But I think the names would probably trigger the algorithms where the countries of origins probably won't. Every group has their kvetching yentas. However, on mainstream social media, you'll get kicked off if you try to clap back, even humorously. You think, oh, social media is just trying to keep things from escalating. No, they aren't. If they wanted that, they would have banned the Karen slur like they would have other slurs based on origin. What they want is they want one group to get attacked, which I absolutely support, because the normie moderate on either side of the aisle needs to see the hatred that is out there and how certain people, certain groups, very powerful groups, are pouring oxygen into that engine to get it to redline. They need to wake up. There is no reconciliation. You will never appease people who all they know how to do is take more and more and more. The left goes left, the right goes left, but a little bit slower. Please, for a second, try to imagine if Weinstein Productions did a movie about women who were always fighting in the street or doing other such disgraceful acts. What is this about? Somebody sees a person doing something they suspect is dangerous or is illegal, and they call the cops. The problem is, in most cases I have seen, there actually was criminal activity or dangerous activity being committed. The quote-unquote bird watcher admitted to threatening her in an interview. He said, "You won't like what I do." That's a clear and present threat. She was right to call the cops. I hope they continue with the Karen stuff. A few things need to happen. The moderate left and normie MAGA right needs to break the lifetime of societal conditioning imposed on them by immersion in globalization, schools, and media. They've been brainwashing you your whole life. It's as close to They Live as possible, which is why I love that movie. And no, there's no tinfoil hat required. It's not the reptilian Chi-Com overlords. Most people are starting to wake up. The rose pills are everywhere. The deeper pill is breaking the societal conditioning and telling other people how you feel. So movies like Karen help wake up the nice, normal, liberal man who is left-wing, but he's not insane. He can look at the direction things are going in and realize that not only has the left gone off course, but the driver has been the puppet master all along. The moderate liberal needs to have that awakening, and same for the MAGA crowd. Trump might have been the best option in 2016, but he knows the way of the world and the puppet masters. He's not going to lose billions to try to save America. And honestly, from 2016 to 2020, America wasn't ready. And for the January protest, America wasn't ready then. But what made America, I think, ready now is that they saw the reaction to the January protests. The FBI and big tech social media went after people who had an unarmed protest to destroy their lives. These were just average normie Americans who couldn't afford legal representation. Some of them were wealthy, yeah, some were middle class, and some, were not. they're being defended by public defenders, and the media and these billionaire medias are calling them the worst things imaginable. They went and peacefully protested unarmed, and the FBI is going to destroy them. That is waking people up. So are people ready now? I think they're getting very, very close to having enough. So that's why I support movies like this. Like, keep them coming. Keep pouring oxygen into the engine. The Birdwatcher was doing a sort of passive-aggressive, oppositional defiance disorder, probing fire to draw fire, much like the gentleman who was in the suburbs sexually assaulting women. His partners waited for him to draw fire. Then they started filming. The Birdwatcher, and you got to be able to recognize events like this. If you're doing anything where there's an issue, and you have to step forward like somebody's harassing someone else, go in with your camera already filming and be as calm and reasonable as possible, and don't approach anyone within like 10 feet. The Birdwatcher, he went to the same specific park. He brought milk bones because he knew dog owners would assume that he was poisoning the dogs, and panic cause a scene that he would film and then put on social media and try to get some of those, try to monetize it, and which he later admitted in a later interview. He threatened the woman. If you saw the interview, she was legitimately scared. She thought that he was going to hurt her or the dog because he literally threatened to do so. Now, does it pass the reasonable man test for behavior in a civil society? Yes, you respond to a threat by calling the cops. If he was smart, when she saw a potential troublemaker, she should have got her phone out and just started filming the dog running just in case things go sideways, so she has a counter narrative, or just leave. You don't want to be around dangerous people who are looking for trouble. And sometimes, like, you just know. I mean, now you got your head on a swivel. Now, the average liberal sees the Birdwatcher situation, and they think maybe the woman could have relaxed a bit, but they also see the Birdwatcher, and they know he has no place in a civil society. His kind is a liar worm-tongue who will always do his puppet master's bidding. An anti-white racist is the dumbest person in America because they are being manipulated into hating people who did nothing to them by their masters who they should be taking issue with. They also are going to burn down a society that they couldn't hope to create. Smart people look to the future and the future of the tribe. They're thinking of what America will be like generations from now. Dumb people just can't do this. Right now, America looks like it's run by people to the left of the bell curve on Twitter. It's not. It's been run by the same liar worm tongues who always ran it. They're just using the low IQ Twitter people as their agents. They have always fomented discord and pitted different tribes against each other to sow division. Globalists destroy nations. Thus the name, globalist. Eventually, the moderates are going to have to reach the effort point and admit that there is a problem, but the Karens aren't the bad actors at play here. What the media does is blow up a Karen story. She sees criminal activity afoot and calls the police, as a reasonable person would do. But then the POC on Asian robberies, batteries, and deletions are almost totally ignored. Eventually, the normal, liberal, and MAGA is going to have to say the quiet part out loud and keep saying it. America has a problem with the media and academia, but who's going to report on the media when 100% are repeating the globalist talking points? Doesn't anyone think it's a little suspicious that there are no mainstream nationalist media on TV or even allowed on social media? Just build your own network. How? If we do, the banks will close our accounts and everyone who worked with us will get blacklisted. America is sort of an occupied, controlled country, but 2/3 of the country are still asleep. Would I even VPN the movie? Probably not. If you saw the trailer, then you saw the movie. But I'm sure this guy, David Stern, who did the interview, will love it because he's a heathen globalist. They have no souls. And this Stern guy also comes across like a bit of a sociopath. Stern gives Coke Daniels, and what a way to say that you did love Jack Daniels, or you really like cocaine and Jack Daniels. He gives him a hard time because the actor who played the Karen said that Soros donated to BLM, and for some reason that offended Stern, but Stern never says if it was true or not, which seems to be an important point for an article writer to include. Soros did donate $250 million to BLM, but Stern, the fraud, framed it as if it was an insane conspiracy theory. The bankers also donated billions to BLM. Nobody seems to know where that money went. Did it put fathers back in the home? Because until you do that, you're spinning your wheels. That is the most important issue, the family, which is why they destroyed the family in the 1960s. Let me be clear here. The degeneracy you see today in these communities, either of the light or color, was done to you by these records of nations, these Soros and Rothschilds. There's a World Star type website called Fly Height that I showed the introduction of. It just has videos of women. There's a whole section devoted to women fighting in the streets or destroying restaurants. It's not Karen's. You can scroll through hundreds of videos of women, sometimes surrounded by kids, fighting, teaching the next generation how to act. I was waiting in a parking lot to donate blood. They use a room in a private club. I've got a shaved head and a beard, and I'm sitting on a log reading some sci-fi, waiting for them to call me. And, I've got torn cargo shorts and sandals and, a certain look. Bohemian, perhaps. A Karen in an expensive car gave me a hard time. She assumed whatever, so I pointed to the blood bank sign until she got the message and pissed off. I didn't record it and put it on the interwebs because I'm an adult. The thing with the Karens, for the most part, they want to live in a clean, safe neighborhood. If you don't watch out for your neighborhood, nobody will. The thing is, you've got different people, some dull, sharing the same space. Do you want to solve the problem or make things worse? The woman in the Benz was being a bit of a see you next Tuesday, but she didn't want some junkie breaking into cars. I'm not a junkie, but perhaps that's what she thought. If I wanted to make the situation worse, I would have started filming in 1080. I didn't because one jerk in a situation is enough. It would have made trouble for her, for me, for the blood bank, and for the donations, and for the charity in general. Why make trouble? So I brought the situation to a peaceful conclusion by showing her I was just there to give blood. The birdwatcher was there with dog treats to cause trouble. Everyone to the right of the bell curve knows that, but social media is mostly low IQ people. Now, in a sane nation, we would have IQ tests for access to social media, where things can go viral and cause so much death and destruction. That would cut out, half of Twitter, but it would also stop Antifa and BLM from causing billions in damages. I hear this, I don't know if this can go on YouTube, but every video, I guess, could be your last video, but it is what it is. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Go to Odysee and BitChute, where no matter what happens to YouTube, I'll still be making videos there.